here, which is UCLA at Indiana. A lot of people excited about this one. Kirk Cinetti said that they are treating UCLA like a 3-0 football team. They are not taking into account who they were before they fired their coach and things started to change. I do have a little bit of a hot take on that. Do you want me to start with that, or do you want to start with your question, Zach?
No, go for it. Go for it. You teased it.
I think it's disrespectful to Northwestern to say that they started after the Northwestern game. I
Oh.
think they started during the Northwestern game. I think Northwestern just beat them.
Hmm.
I think Northwestern's a good football team.
Hmm. Remember who said Northwestern might go to a bowl game this year, preseason?
You're
This
not.
guy. Just saying.
It's not a bad take. It's not looking like it. 5-2 right now. I ranked them on Sunday night, Zach. I don't know if you saw that.
I think I did. I was proud of you for that one. I think that's good. It's good on you because they are 5-2. And they've lost
Well,
two good teams.
and every single SEC team is ranked. So why can't every single Big Ten team be ranked?
Yeah.
So anyway, this is a UCLA at Indiana
We'll get
talk
to
here.
Northwestern.
We'll get to Northwestern here in a bit, but yeah, I think this is going to be a really interesting game. UCLA playing much better football. The last time they went and traveled, they beat Michigan State 38-13. Now Michigan State has not really been a good football team the last few weeks, so take that with a grain of salt. But still, an away game going from one coast to the other side of the country. Not a lot of teams have been able to pull that off, easy team or not, and so this is going to be a very interesting one with UCLA looking like an improved football team, but Indiana, some have them ranked as the number one team in the country. So, Zach, what is your question going into this game that is going to be a key matchup or a key piece to this game for you?
Yeah, I think we have similar questions, but coming from different angles. So I think my question is about, can Iamaleava be able to navigate the pocket and escape pressure enough to stress Indiana's defense for the first time this season? Indiana defensively has been almost flawless. If you go back to the Oregon game, they only allowed 13 points offensively. The other 7 from a pick 6. Nobody has threatened them offensively. Illinois didn't, Oregon didn't, Michigan State didn't. They have been, like, as much as we talk about Mendoza, it's been their defense that has just been stellar. Iamaleava has played with a renewed confidence. Quasi Gilmer, Mikey Matthews, like, they have really become a very good offense. And Iamaleava and his ability to escape pressure has been a big part of that. You saw it against Penn State. I think you've seen it in the past several weeks. And so I think the question is, I think Indiana will be disciplined, but can Iamaleava find ways to stress the defense in ways that nobody else really has been able to?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to think through that. If you go back and look, it was the quarterback for Old Dominion, Colton Joseph, that ran for nearly 200 yards on Indiana, in that Old Dominion game. So Indiana, if I'm not mistaken, they've not really seen, a scrambling quarterback like a Nico Iamaleava. They saw Mark Gronowski. However, he did get injured in that game. It was a little bit later on, but I wouldn't really categorize Mark Gronowski's running style as like a Nico Iamaleava. He's kind of more like a running back, kind of like a power running back type of guy. Nico is more of a shifty kind of guy who kind of escapes and can juke a few guys out. Not to say Mark Gronowski cannot. I'm just saying that that's more of Nico's game than it is Mark Gronowski's.
Mark Gronowski's jukes are they're a bit more stodgy.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're right. And I would say also Aiden Childs ran for nearly 50 yards on Indiana as well. You go back to the beginning of that Michigan State game, the quarterback run was huge for Michigan State on some of the third down, or was it third down or fourth down, but some of those late down attempts for them to be able to keep the chains moving there in the first 2 drives. So I think good on you to think through the Nico Iamaleava piece and, how much could his legs be something that Indiana has to overcome.
Yeah.
Stodgy jukes.
Thank you, Bubba. We appreciate that.
There we go. That's gonna be a new quote for the episode there.
That'd be on the thumbnail for the episode.
That's what we'll do. Yes. Dodgy jukes. Watch out. It's not even
Okay.
about this game. It's about a whole nother quarterback that was in a different game. But all right. So my question in this one is, so UCLA has improved in just about every area, in my opinion, since including in that Northwestern game. In that Northwestern game, not as much improvement. So you could argue the last three games was really when you had the most improvement. But even going back to like the beginning of the season, they have not really improved at all with their pass rush. They got good pass rush in the UNLV game, which helped them out a lot. So my question is, can UCLA get any type of pressure on Indiana enough to disrupt Fernando Mendoza? Because in my opinion, you can have great coverage in this game, you can stop the run in this game, but if you do not get pressure on Fernando Mendoza, then you are not going to be able to win this football game. The only way that UCLA is going to disrupt Fernando Mendoza enough is, well, I guess there's two ways. A, Fernando Mendoza doesn't come ready to play and he's just doesn't look like his normal self. I don't think that's happening. So the only other way is that they get pressure on Fernando Mendoza. He throws a few picks. They're able to take the ball away. Zach, UCLA has been about the same stats in pass rush this entire year. You want to hear the stats for how many pressures they've got on quarterback from game to
I
game?
I do. I
All
do.
right. Utah, they had seven. UNLV, like I said, they had 15 in that one, so good game for them. New Mexico, they had nine. Northwestern, they had seven. Penn State, they had eight. Michigan State, they had five. Maryland, they had eight pressures on the quarterbacks. The first three games, they had 10 pressures. They averaged 10 pressures per game. In the last four games, they have averaged seven pressures per game. So you could argue it's actually gotten worse, but I would say you started facing better competition in the last
Yeah.
four games. So
Yeah.
that's
Better
probably a
offensive
bigger thing there.
lines. Yeah. Better offensive lines for sure.
Yeah. So any thoughts on the pass rush for UCLA?
Yeah. I mean, I think you pick a good one because getting pressure is going to be difficult. A, because of UCLA's inability or weakness to get pressure, but then you're compounding that with the RPO action. Mendoza gets the ball out fast, and he's got the receivers to do it, right? Omar Cooper and Elijah Surratt they have been the second best receiver duo in the conference, if not the country. They have, I think you can make a case for Alabama being the second best ones, but Cooper and Surratt have just been phenomenal. And it's easy to be quick in the pass game when you have receivers that get open like they do. And Mendoza is so good at making quick decisions on the RPO game that I think even a really good pass rush would have a difficult time getting to Mendoza. We saw that against Oregon, right? They sacked him once. So that's I think that is probably the other matchup that will ultimately determine this game.
Yeah, and Fernando Mendoza, I mean, he's been fantastic all season long, so I'm not breaking any news here. But if there is an area where he has but not been as good, which, breaking news, quarterbacks are not as good when they're under pressure, it's been when he's under pressure. He's only thrown two interceptions this season, but both those interceptions happened when he was under pressure. So if
Yep.
UCLA wants to try and impact Fernando Mendoza at all and try to keep him from just throwing it all around them, because he is incredibly accurate, nearly 80% completion percentage on the season. He's been doing a really good job of getting it to his receivers just where they need it, so that way they can continue running, get yards after the catch. But he has struggled, only 55% completion percentage when under pressure,
Mm.
according to PFF. So we'll see. Zach, what is your score prediction for the game?
So I have it a little closer than I initially thought, because I do think UCLA, while their pass rush has struggled, I think the rest of their defense has played well against other teams. And I do think Iamaleava is going to be a tricky challenge. And they've scored against everybody they've played since 3 weeks ago. And I don't I think Indiana is really, really good. I still have them number one in my power rankings. I still have them number one in the country above Ohio State. And I don't think anything will change my mind on that, even even with a win over UCLA. But I think people are discounting UCLA. Like I discounted them last week, and I shouldn't have in their win against Maryland. So I think the Hoosiers win. I think they break the winning streak, but I've got a 10-point win, 34-24.
Hmm. I think that you could definitely see 24 points for UCLA if they don't do a very good job of containing Nico Iamaleava. I think there's going to be more than 34 points scored by Indiana in this one. My score prediction is going to be 41-14 Indiana in this one. Even against teams last year that posed a good threat in different matchups for Indiana, Kirk Cinetti still had his guys prepared enough to be able to take them down. You look at some of the games they played against Washington and other teams that, did have some talent on that team. They were not, maybe didn't have the best record. Their record didn't indicate who they were, kind of like this UCLA team. I don't think their record indicates who they are. I still think Indiana is one of the most prepared teams, if not the most prepared team in the country, week to week. I think, Kirk Cinetti has these guys ready to play. Nobody's going to be taking this game lightly. And I think they know that right now the SEC is on Indiana's tail. A lot of people have them ranked number one, but if you look at the AP poll and stuff, Alabama's getting a lot of love. Texas A&M is getting a lot of love. And, it was just somebody I saw on Twitter, Bud Elliott, said that Indiana is going to finish as the 4 seed in the college football playoffs. And I thought, oh, okay, he just thinks that, they're going to lose the championship game and they'll get moved down. No, he said that he thinks that the committee is going to really take into account this, like who you've played strength of record thing, and Alabama and Texas A&M are going to get the nod over Indiana. And I think that Indiana needs to make sure that doesn't happen, which, you think about it, like 2 seed, 4 seed, really not that big of a difference. But I think Kirk Cinetti knows that in order to keep that from happening, these guys have to play well and kind of play for style points a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's a good thought. My only maybe main pushback would be I think I agree that Indiana has taken teams like Washington and Nebraska to the woodshed a year ago. Those teams didn't have nearly the juice though that I think UCLA currently does. And so I wonder how much momentum and progress really do in, they really do mean something. And I wonder how much UCLA's momentum will carry them. I To your point though, and I think this is a detriment to UCLA. It is a 12 p.m. Eastern start time, and it's at Indiana. So I think it's going to be closer, but I would not be shocked between Indiana's preparation and the early start time for the body clocks of the Bruins. I could see that going your way with a 27-point margin.
Yeah, and I think, you look at that Michigan State game, again, I'm not trying to take anything away from UCLA. I really like UCLA this season. I think they're just going to run into a monster here against Indiana. And nobody should come away from this one and be like, yeah, UCLA sucks. You should still consider UCLA a dangerous team when you play them, regardless of whatever the results are in this game. But you're exactly right. Going across the country, it's difficult. Yes, they did beat Michigan State down, but Michigan State's also given up 40 or more points, or average given up 40 over 40 points per game in the Big Ten so far. So it's not like that was something that happened that has not happened to Michigan State already this season. They've not been good in Big Ten
Mm.
conference play. At least defensively, they've not been. So
Yep.
so we'll see. Should be an interesting one. All right, let's see. We had some score predictions in the chat. Hello Dog says I would take UCLA and the points. I would not blame you. I would not blame you. Philip says Indiana 45, UCLA 21. UCLA covers the spread. Yes, on FanDuel, this one is Indiana favored by 25.5, over under set at 54.5. I have Indiana covering, you have UCLA covering. So we'll see what that does for our scores. Illini Bubba says UCLA wins by 53, obviously.
Mm.
Yeah. They pull an Indiana versus Illinois there and do
Wow.
that. So
Wow.
bold prediction there from Illini Bubba.